So I actually wanted to make this video yesterday, but I think with the whole everything happening, tension, emotions going high, people saying stuff, and a whole lot of that, I think I actually had to record videos for the other stuff that happened in the Premier League and content and stuff like that. So I wanted to wait till today, the next day, analyze the situation, rewatch some particular moments in the match, and then really get to know what went wrong yesterday. And in my years of supporting Real Madrid, I think I've noticed something with the fan base is that we're too reactionary. I understand, we're supposedly I don't know supposedly we're the best team in the world, arguably. If you're not first or second, sorry, if we're not second, we're first. I mean, and we are very reactionary. Every time we lose a game, we have to react based on how we lost that game. We don't look at the grand scheme of things. We don't look at an overall view. We don't have a bird's eye view of everything that has happened up until the loss of the game. We just focus on the loss of the game, react based on the loss of the game, and we go based on that and react based on that. And it's always a bad reaction. It's always a horrible reaction. Same thing happened with Ancelotti last season. People were not really analyzing what was happening leading to the losses of the games that we lost, and people were just very reactionary based on the losses. They were like, oh, we lost like this, Ancelotti's doing this, Ancelotti's doing that. And it was just a one very peripheral, like focused vision on one loss, not really looking at the peripheral side of things and looking at what's around the loss, what happened, what led to the loss. Are there any injuries? Were there any other reasons? Did the other team just wanted more stuff like that? And I think it's something that even in the creator space, you hardly see a Real Madrid fan actually sit down and analyze that. Okay, this is why we lost. Okay, this is the reason why we lost. This is what we did wrong. It's always just a screaming, shouting, blaming a particular player, blaming a particular manager, blaming a particular system, and something. It's always something we try to put a particular blame on. And I don't want that to be the case because I think this is a new era for Real Madrid and this is a new era for Real Madrid fans. This is the first time in a very long time we have a manager that actually has a system, that actually plays in a particular way, that actually wants to see players do a particular thing at a particular time. So I want to have a different view on this new manager and how he's approaching, handling a job as big as Real Madrid. So I want to get into the game. I want to really, really analyze what went wrong in the game and why I think it's a big loss. Don't get me wrong. Madrid Derby is always a big game and it's a big loss. And I think although it's a big loss, I don't think it's as big as people are, panning out to be. I've seen some people saying we shouldn't have sacked Ancelotti, and you never really know what you have until it's gone. Again, reactionary fan base. We just say stuff. I don't even think they mean what they're saying. They just say it because I'm sure if we go to the El Clasico and absolutely go to town on Barcelona, people are gonna forget about this Madrid derby. If we go on to win the Champions League, people are going to forget about this Madrid derby. If we go on to do well in the Champions League, people are going to forget about this Madrid derby. So I'm not necessarily too focused on the Madrid derby because I do know, if we can move on from this game, improve and be better in other games, I know we're going to do well. I know we're going to be okay. So I'm not too focused on the Madrid derby. Now, first things I want to talk about is the lineup from Xabi Alonso was very naive. And I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because first Madrid derby in his career managing. He has played Madrid derbies, but this is the first time he is managing a Madrid derby, and he is not. He was a good player, definitely. Alonso was a good player when he was in Real Madrid, but he doesn't have that aura a manager like Zidane or Ancelotti have. Although Zidane didn't really have the experience managing, he had an aura, and I mean he had better players as well. But if you look at a manager like Ancelotti, I don't think Ancelotti has ever lost a Madrid derby. If I have to check my facts and get them right, I don't think Ancelotti has really lost a Madrid derby before. But you can see he has that experience. he knows how important this game is, and he doesn't make as many mistakes as he makes in other games in Madrid derbies and like El Clasicos and stuff like that, apart from last season. But when Ancelotti comes into a Madrid derby, he knows this game is important. I need to set up the team in such a way that we can win this game no matter what and no matter how we play. And that's how Ancelotti goes into those games. I think same thing with Zidane. But with Xabi Alonso, the lineup he put out against Atletico Madrid away from home as well. This wasn't a home game. Away from home was very, very naive. And the system he proceeded to employ in that game was very naive. Now, Bellingham had a quick recovery from his injury. Grateful to, very, very happy to have that, to have a player of his quality back in the team. But Bellingham was supposed to still be an injury for another 1 month. But for whatever reason, he has quickly recovered from that injury 1 month earlier. And he's been, integrated into the team slowly, slowly, slowly. I think before this game, he hadn't even played 45 minutes of football. I think before this game, he had played 30 minutes and like 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes, and he hadn't started any game. All these 30 minutes were from the bench. So for Alonso to start Bellingham in a game as big as this, away from home, first Madrid derby for him, everyone is expecting him to win this game, or not even win, honestly. Perform well in this game, put up a good performance, and let's just move on from that, and then we see how we play up against big teams. To play a player that is recovering from injury, hasn't played a full 90 minutes yet. Like, even if you accumulate the amount of time, minutes he has played for Madrid this season, it isn't even up to the 45 minutes. So to start a player and play him, he played longer. He played longer than Arda Güler, who has been our best player this season, next to Mbappe. I don't think Mbappe is. I think Arda Güler has actually been our best player. So to start Bellingham, who is now recovering from injury, he looked rusty. He hasn't had a preseason. He hasn't played 90 minutes. He hasn't started a game until a Madrid derby. To play him in a match like this, start him in a match like this, play him longer than Arda Güler, criminal. Absolutely criminal. I think, again, naivety from Xabi Alonso and inexperience in a game and managing a team as big as Madrid in a match like this. Because I can guarantee you Ancelotti is not going to do that. Ancelotti is not going to do that. And this is not me saying we should have kept Ancelotti or something stupid like that. I'm just trying to say the lack of experience and the naivety to do something like that in a match as big. Like, if we're up against Levante and you start Bellingham and keep him longer on the pitch than Arda Güler, no problem about that, because it's Levante, you can do well. A game like this where Atletico Madrid, I said this in my Chouamini video, which, I mean, it feels absolutely useless now. The video I made on how Chouamini could be very important in this game feels absolutely useless now, because he didn't even play in the defensive mid position. We'll get onto the system later on, but he didn't even play in the defensive midfield position the entire game. He was a third center back yesterday, and the entire video I made absolutely useless. So instead of playing Mastantuano, I mean, you would feel hard done by if you're Mastantuano. Really, really would. And the aggression, we'll get to that. I want to take it one point at a time. I don't want to move from one point to another. I want to take it one point at a time. So let's focus on the lineup. So the lineup, Bellingham in that team starting that game. I think even in the Levante game, people were saying something like Bellingham might start the Madrid derby. And I was like, that's probably the worst football take I've heard in a while. I thought they were trolling. I really did. I thought they were trolling, saying Bellingham could start the Madrid derby, because he even against Levante, he doesn't look ready. He came out off the bench, played against Levante. He didn't even look ready against Levante. How much the Madrid derby? So lineup, horrible. Starting Bellingham was horrible. Now, the formation we played was weird, confusing, weird, something we haven't played this season. So this season we've played a 4-3-3 and we've played a 4-4-2. For whatever reason today, we decided to play a 4-2-2-2. Why? We decided to play a formation we haven't played this season. So far, we've come up against some, difficult teams that are going to sit back and defend. And we played a 4-3-3 and a 4-4-2. And when we played that 4-4-2, if you watch that match well, I think it was up against Sociedad or some, I don't really remember. But it was a game we played a 4-4-2. We didn't even play that well. We did not play that well with a 4-4-2 with two midfielders in the middle of the pitch. We didn't play that well with a 4-4-2. We just, we're just lucky because we had good players. Mbappe scored, I think, a brace in that match. So we played a 4-4-2 and we didn't play well. So I don't know what moved Alonso to go on and play a 4-2-2 to another two, like a triple two, a 4-2-2. I don't know why we were doing that in today's game. It was very, very weird. And I think it was an attempt to just fit Bellingham in the team, because I think if Bellingham is in the team, we play a 4 midfield three of Valverde, Chouameni, Goulet, and then a front three of Mbappe, Vinicius, and Mastantuano on the right wing. I think that this 4-2-2-2 was an attempt to fit Bellingham into the team, a Bellingham that wasn't even ready to play this game. It was an attempt to do that, and it failed horribly. Now, we're off from the lineup and the formation. Let's go on to the system. A Madrid derby is a game where form, status, how you're playing, injury, all that stuff, history, how you've played against us in the past, how we've played against them in the past, all that stuff out the window. When you're playing a Madrid derby, all of that external stuff, anything you've done before that game is irrelevant. It's a fresh, clean slate. Everyone is coming into this game with the mindset of, we want to win this game. That's how Madrid derbies have worked over the few years I've been supporting Real Madrid and watch Madrid derbies. From the time Griezmann and from Suarez, from Ronaldo, prime Vinicius, Benzema, Griezmann, every derby I've watched has been a clean slate for both teams. Madrid could be playing absolutely brilliantly, come into the derby, get our asses handed to us on a plate. Atletico Madrid could be playing absolutely brilliantly, go into the derby, they get their asses handed on a plate to them. So a derby is always a clean slate. Whatever you've played in your previous matches do not matter. You come into a derby and you play the occasion because it's a Madrid derby. Atletico Madrid have been shit since before they played that derby. They came up against us, looked like prime Brazil. Atletico Madrid, before they came up against us, played every game, scored first, lost the games. Haven't been able to score a lot of goals. Came to Madrid derby, scored 5. Put 5 against us. Julian Alvarez didn't really look that good. Came up against us, played well. So a derby doesn't matter. And why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the system alone, so the approach he took going into this game, again, was naive. There's a lot of naivety coming off from Alonso, and I don't really blame him. This is his first time managing Real Madrid. So he's going to, again, that's why my reaction video to the match was a hard lesson for Xabi Alonso, because he's going to have to learn from this. This shouldn't happen again, is what I'm trying to say. This should not be something that happens again, because it has happened once. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt that he doesn't know he doesn't really know this is how derbies are from the manager's perspective, So we'll give him that. What I mean by his approach play to the game was naive. He went into this game, again, formation coming into the play, 4-2-2. He went into this game with the approach of Carreras and Carvajal going forward, maintaining their forward runs with a back three behind them of Tchouaméni, Houghton, and Militao until Militao got injured. But let's talk about the first half. Militao, Houghton, Tchouaméni, back three, Carreras, Carvajal, bomb forward. Now, I don't have a problem with Alonso trying to implement his system. This is his system, back three, full backs are bombing forward. No problem with that. I don't have a problem doing that. I have a problem trying that against Atletico Madrid. If you try that against Levante, I don't really have a problem with that. If you try that against Oviedo, no problem. These are games we're expected to win regardless of the formation. Trying that for the first time against Atletico Madrid is naive. And Simeone showed his tactical brilliance yesterday, because he noticed Carreras and Carvajal were bombing forward and just told his players, play the ball into those channels. Those left back and right back positions that players are supposed to be in? They ain't got no one there. Play the ball into those channels. We get the ball there. cross the ball into the box, Sorloth is gonna get it. Cross the ball into the box, Sorloth is gonna get it. If Sorloth is not in the box, try and get a foul in those positions. We get a set piece, we bomb players forward, and then we put a ball into the we put a cross into the box because we have good people who can do that. And that's how they got the first goal. Set piece from a crossable position. Cross the ball into the box. Robin Lenormand scores the goal. Simple. And Diego Simeone did this from the first minute, literally from the first minute, because if you watch the tackle Militao had to make, he had to make a tackle from a ball into the channel. Sorla gets the ball, and Militao, wonderfully makes a really good recovery tackle. But from the first minute to the 90th minute, Diego Simeone just told his players, play the ball into those free empty channels that Carreras and Carvajal have vacated. Just play the ball into those channels and we're good to go. We're golden. And they did that for 90 minutes. And for some reason, Alonso didn't notice that. He kept telling Carreras and Carvajal, keep going forward. Keep going forward. I'm sure his plan was probably to outscore Atletico. You don't do that in a derby. You don't plan to outscore the opposing team in a derby, whether it's an El Clasico, whether it's a Madrid derby, especially a Madrid derby. Because we know Atletico are solid defensively. If Atletico Madrid want to defend, they will defend. And they will defend very well. So again, I don't want to stress too much on the system he deployed in that game because I think it's just a naivety. He probably didn't think Atletico Madrid were really gonna defend, when they go like 2 goals up. Because once they went 4-2, they started taking off players like Shola, bringing on defenders. So they will defend. If they need to defend, they will defend, and they defended very well. So it's something I know. I think I noticed this in the first 20 minutes. When Lenormand scored his first goal, I was like, we need to bring Carreras and Carvajal back. We need to let them maintain. I'm not even saying we should have parked the bus a little bit. I'm trying to say we should have held those channels Atletico were playing the ball into. We should have held those channels, held them back, prevent them from playing the ball into those channels, and analyze the game and see where we go from there. Move Chouameni into the midfield, and then we see where we move from there. Let's just move to a 4-3-3, hold them off a little bit, especially when we got that second goal. When we were in front, when Guler scored that second goal and we were in front, I think Alonso should have just pulled the reins back a little bit. Pull Carreras back. Pull Carvajal back. Put Chouameni into the midfield. Let the game be balanced. Hold off the game onto the second half. And then you can analyze and see how you can deploy your system in a way that prevents Atletico from playing the ball into the channels. But we didn't do that stubbornly. And then we can see the equalizer and move 2-2 into the second half. So his approach to the game was naive. Telling his fullbacks to go forward, just open up the game for Atletico to put crosses. And I mean, they put in quality crosses. This is the best crossing play I've seen Atletico do in a very long time. They put in quality crosses. Quality. Those crosses were if they had 2 Sorlots up top, I think we probably concede more. If they had 2 players of Sorlot's quality and physical ability up top, they probably score more. Because all the crosses they put into the box were elite, beautiful, and it worked. It worked well because all the time they played the ball into the channels. By the time Carreras and Carvajal got back, it was too late. It was too late. The crosser was already being put into the box. There was one situation where I think it was I've forgotten his name. Was it no, Molina didn't start. I think it was Javi Galan. I think it was Javi Galan on the right hand side. A ball goes over the top. He's literally miles ahead of Carreras. Carreras actually does well to get close to him. But by the time Carreras can actually slide and clear the ball or something, he's already put the cross into the box. I'll give Carreras credits for actually catching up to him. But by the time Carreras is getting close to even, sliding, he's got acres of space to cross the ball into the box and delivers a beautiful cross to Sorloth. Fortunately for us, Courtois gets onto the head of the end of the header and tips it over the bar. That's what I'm talking about. So his system and way he deployed the team to go up against Atletico was very naive. Now, I'm going to move away from the manager because I think I've talked about Alonso a lot. I want to talk about the players. There was a lack of derby spirit in this game. Now, what I mean by that is a Madrid derby, you can see from the way Atletico players played that game. They wanted it. Minus the fact that they needed to win this game because they haven't had a good start to the season. They wanted this derby a lot more than we did. They went into this game with the mindset of, we want to win this game. This is a game we have to win. But also, this is a Madrid derby. There's pride at stake. We can't just lose against Real Madrid, a new manager in Real Madrid with new players making their Madrid derby debut. We have to, introduce these players into a loss. Let them know we're not just, any team in La Liga. And they did that perfectly. The passion, the aggression, the intensity Atletico Madrid players showed, it's not just because they were at home. They showed that intensity and passion and aggression because they wanted the game more than we did. The only time I saw a shred of that passion, intensity, and aggression was when Mastantuano came on. Mastantuano came on and was, going into players, being physical with players, and he's a small kid. He's physically, he's a small player. And he was going into players, sliding into tackle. I think he got a yellow card as well. And he didn't even play like 30 minutes into the game. He was aggressive, intense, showed that passion to play in a Madrid derby. And I was expecting to see that from players like Vinicius. Expecting to see that from players like Carvajal. I was expecting to see that from players like Militao, Valverde. Valverde especially, I was expecting to see that from. I'm not going to talk about Houghton, Carreras, the new players. Even Mbappe, I was expecting to see that from Mbappe. Forget about Carreras, Houghton, maybe even Goulet to a certain extent because he hasn't really played a lot of games for Real Madrid, bar this season. But the established players, the Vinicius, the Mbappe, the Valverde, the Tchouaméni, the Militao, the Carvajal, I was expecting these players to show that passion, show that aggression, show that intensity in a Madrid derby that we're used to, that we're supposed to be seeing. That's what I was expecting. And the fact that I didn't see that was a little bit concerning. The fact that the only player that showed that was Franco Mastantuano was concerning. Very, very, very concerning for me. Extremely, extremely concerning for me because a Madrid derby, again, as I've said before, it's a game that takes form out of the window. It takes how you've played before out of the window, all of that out of the window. It's a new game, it's a fresh game, and you approach it as the game goes. There was a lack of that. And I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt or let it slide because, again, we had experienced players in the team who have played Madrid derbies before. So to not see that from those players was a problem. It's a problem, and I think Alonso has to address that. Or it could be Alonso also didn't show that passion, so the other players didn't think it was that serious. Because I think if a manager like Ancelotti or a manager like Zidane is in the dressing room, they will let you know how important this game is. So even players like Alvaro Carreras, Dean Houghton, these new players, even though they're coming new into the team, they get that feeling from the manager that, oh, this is actually an important game. Like, this is a game we need to win. We need to put in our 100% in this game and win it. And I didn't see that. So a concern in terms of passion, aggression, intensity, and how we approach the game. Very, very concerning because you look at Atletico Madrid, players like Giuliano Simeone playing their heart out. I mean, he's a right winger that had to play right back. He had to play 3 positions that game. Right back, right mid, right wing, and he played all of them spectacularly. Beautifully, he played all of them. And that's what I wanted to see from the experienced players in the team. But unfortunately, that was not the case. My overall assessment of what really happened in this game is, I think there was a lot of naivety going into this game. And naivety in a game like a Madrid derby leads to us playing badly. We played badly. I don't even think there is no excuse for, what happened. I don't think I'm going to blame it on a particular player playing or, like Bellingham playing and stuff like that. We played badly as a team, and we played badly because we didn't go into this game with as much intensity and aggression as we should have. And I don't know if that came from the manager or that came from the players. I want to believe Alonso, being an ex-player, he knows how important this game is, and he could, convey that message to the players, and the players didn't do that. But it could also be the case that Alonso didn't convey the message of how important a game like this is, not just for the season. This was the first big test for Alonso, and he has failed it. But despite the fact that this was a big test and this was a game that we should have won, despite it being a derby, this is a game that should have been taken seriously because it was a derby. So to not get that feeling, I would think, again, we don't know the reason why the players didn't play with passion. So I'm just gonna assume that the manager didn't convey that message to the players, and the players didn't really feel it because apart from, again, as I said, Mastantuano coming onto the field and playing very well, showing that passion, and he kicks the ball into the stands. Players get angry at him, crowd him, stuff like that. He gets a yellow card. That's what you want to see in a Madrid derby. That's what you want to see. You want to, you just want to ruffle, because that's exactly what Atletico Madrid did. They ruffled Alfredis. They came into the game, played 4-2. They were 4-2 up, and they were diving. That's what you want to see in a derby. They were 4-2 up, and then we get close to them, players are on the floor. They were getting fouls, they were getting free kicks, and they were 4-2 up. They could have allowed us to, get 4-3, but they were 4-2 up, and they were playing like they were 2-0 down, or they were 2-1 down. And that's exactly, you could see Simeone after the game, he was crying. The manager of the team that won 4-2 was crying because that's how important derby is to Atletico. Keep in mind, they haven't played well until yesterday. They were playing trash until yesterday. Came into a Madrid derby, Julian Alvarez turning into Ronaldinho. Everyone playing their absolute. I mean, Llorente. There was a point in the match. Llorente clears the ball like 80 yards. Not 80 yards is crazy. 50 yards in front of him. The ball is going out for a Madrid goal kick, and he is walking down the ball. Houghton is basically walking to the ball. You could see Llorente from his own half walking down the ball. He has cleared 50 yards. He doesn't have to do that, by the way. Atletico are 4-2 up. Llorente just needs to clear the ball, go back to position, and defend. He clears the ball 40 yards. It doesn't go out immediately. The ball is slowly bouncing out to go for a goal kick, and he is hawking that ball down. Houghton is basically jogging to the ball, gets close to the ball. Llorente is, pressing him, applying the pressure, and Houghton has to take it out for a goal kick. And he basically turns a 50-yard clearance into a dangerous throw-in for Atletico. That's what you want to see in a derby. And I'm sure after that, Simeone basically just gave him a hug. Because that's what you want to see in a derby. You want to see players running for balls that don't even matter. You want to see players diving into tackles that don't even matter. Just ruffle some feathers. Make players overthink, make decisions, hesitate, because that's what decides derbies. If you can make a defender hesitate in a derby, you have the upper hand. If you can make a player be more aggressive in a tackle than he normally is, he can lead to a red card, and that gives you a better advantage. That's what makes a derby. That's how we've won derbies over the past few years. We've gone to Atletico Madrid and we've ruffled feathers. Thibaut Courtois last season, the fans were basically in his face. Obviously because he played for Atletico Madrid, the fans were basically in his face, talking to him, saying, traitor and stuff like that. He was celebrating in front of them. To the point where they were throwing stuff on the field and they had to pause the game for like 30 minutes. Just because Thibaut Courtois ruffled some feathers. And the Atletico players had to basically go onto the fans, beg their own fans to stop being, the way they were being, throwing stuff on the field. Stop doing that before the game could continue. Mentally, that affects the players as well. Because the whole flow of the game is stopped. They have to go to the fans, talk to the fans, and the fans as well would probably say a couple of mean stuff to the players. Because they're like, we shouldn't be in this position where our former player, a player that has played for us before, is bantering us. A goalkeeper, for that matter. It's not even a striker or a player on the field, like an outfield player. A goalkeeper is bantering us. So they'll say some stuff to the players. It gets to the players' head, and mentally, it affects them. That's how you win derbies. That's how you approach derbies. But yeah, I've been rambling on for a bit. It's been, like 30 minutes video? Wow, it's a long video. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What you guys actually think happened in this game, because honestly, I think I've covered a lot of points. And I think although it was a big loss and this should have been a statement, it's a statement game and we lost it. It's a hard lesson for Alonso. It is definitely going to have to, improve from that, because we're going to come up against Barcelona. If we have a performance and a result like this against Barcelona, it's going to be different. It's going to be a different reaction all over. You know, again, I've given him a lot of benefit of the doubt that this is his first derby. He doesn't know how, he doesn't know the perspective of a derby from a manager's point of view. He only knows it from a player's point of view. So I'm just gonna give him that benefit of the doubt, and I hope that he does learn from this lesson. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As usual, any feedback from you guys would be greatly appreciated.